The winner of the 2013 Queensland Private and Corporate Sector Award is Amanda Lear.
Wow. Oh my goodness, this is nothing short of wonderful. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for someone who is quite literally always the bridesmaid and never a bride. I've got this amazing feeling that I'm the one that just got hitched. And Telstra, I love you too. I want to share this moment immediately with my incredible fellow nominees, Lisa, Alana and Jenny. This night belongs to all of us, and this belongs to all of us, and it always will. And I also need to be very careful to quickly divvy up the award between myself, my incredible team, Table 40, you're amazing. We started this business together, and Ben and David, Ricky, Jack, Jane, Sam and Jenna, they turn up to work every day and just give their heart and soul and passion into every moment, in every breath, every late night, every work weekend, every anything. They give it all, and you just inspire me every day. Thank you forever. I've wanted to be a businesswoman ever since I saw Melanie Griffith in Working Girl at the Cannon Hill Drive-In. And it's not entirely true I wanted to be a businesswoman or a dairy farmer, but now I kind of split my time between a career and a veggie patch as kind of my current compromise. One thing that always inspired me about Melanie Griffith in Working Girl is she kind of really had a lot stacked against her, and it really inspired me a lot through my education. I was diagnosed with dyslexia very late in my career and kind of really fought through my education and lots of really systems that really wanted to put you in boxes despite you really, I guess it really never measured my intelligence. It's a terrible thing when a little child feels like they're a failure simply because they can't answer a test. It doesn't measure your intelligence, and it certainly doesn't measure your capability. So through a bit of wheeling and dealing, I was able to nudge my way into university. And once you find your own little space in the world, it's a really exciting time to, drive and explore and change when you've got choice in your life, when you actually express yourself, and it's an incredible space to be. In terms of Gilimbaa, our beautiful business, it's a really hard one to describe, and in fact, over the years, one of the easiest ways to describe what we are and what we do is actually to tell you how we started. We, three mates who kind of always been working around the design industry, were presented David Williams, who's up the back, Dave, yo, is an incredible Indigenous artist and musician, and he was presented by one of the governments in Australia, I won't name names, to put dot art on some training material. And he brought it to us, and I've got a background in training, education and psychology and marketing. And we looked at this training material that was going to go out to remote Indigenous communities where I'd also done some work. And when we read this content, when you read stuff and it's so bad that you gasp and cover your mouth like, ugh. It was like that, and to be quite candid, it was offensive, it was condescending in any possible way you could ever imagine. I couldn't believe that this kind of offensive content was coming from our government. So we really decided, right, what we can do, we can go back to this government and say we can rewrite this content, make it tip-top, make it better, make it less offensive, and make it look good as well, which is always good comms do. And they loved it, and they loved it so much that we were halfway through that project and we realised there's no one else really in the country that's doing that is able to understand both of those parties, the Indigenous communities as well as the corporate sector. And that's where we found ourselves. So 2 weeks later, we started Gilimbaa. And 2 weeks after that, Kevin Rudd, our Prime Minister, or as he's known in this space, Theresa's hubby, made the historic apology. And it's been an incredible ride ever since. We have really paralleled the nation. This is an incredible time in the nation, and our business has found itself at a time where there's just so many important stories to tell, and there's so many important stories to hear, and we've found ourselves really right in the middle of that point, creating some really interesting, creative, credible work grown from communities and put out into communities for everyone to see and hear. And it's always funny, people always think, gosh, you work in this space, you must be right up there in human rights. And while human rights does have a huge part to play in what we do, people often think it's not very accessible, that you need to the only way to deal with human rights is, walking the corridors of the United Nations, and while that does happen there, it's certainly not true. And I might lean on the words of Eleanor Roosevelt, who's an incredible woman, an incredible campaigner for human rights, and had an incredible way of putting it in layman's terms when she said, human rights sits in small places close to home. So close and so small they cannot be seen on any maps of the world, yet they are the world of the individual person. The neighbourhood she lives in, the school or college she attends, the factory or farm or office she works in. Such places is where every man, woman and child seeks equal justice, equal opportunity and equal dignity without discrimination. Unless these rights have meaning here, they have little meaning anywhere. So I'm really imploring you all to think about how you work, what you work, to talk. The real courage is in the small and mighty. It's in the small and mighty conversations that don't happen in UN corridors. They happen at water coolers. They happen out in the surf. They happen walking down the street, and they happen how you tell your children what their day was like and how you ask questions to each other. So we all have a role to play in building an incredible nation. An incredible nation means we all have the same rights and opportunities, and we all have the same way to celebrate each other. We've got something to learn from everybody, and I just want to thank everyone for their time tonight and have a great time. Bye.